Hey everyone, welcome back to Citywide Blackout, your home for music, movies, and more. I'm your host, Max Bowen. In this episode, all the way from Sydney, Australia, I'm chatting with singer-songwriter Tia Beale to talk about her new single, Do It Over, which speaks of the devastating loss of a close friend to suicide. We talk all about the story behind this song and what went into it. Tia also has a strong background in film as an actress. And we chat about some of her favorite movies, people she would love to work with, and some of the recent projects that she's done. Joining me now, she is about a day ahead of me, all the way from Sydney, Australia. Singer-songwriter Tia Beale joins me. Tia, welcome to the show. It is awesome talking to you.
Hi, thank you for having me.
No problem. And there is so much to talk about, you know. I know you've only been doing music for like a short time. You've released two singles, the most recent one being Do It Over. Deals with a very, very serious thing. Your friend who recently took their own life.
Yeah.
Jeez, I don't know where to begin with that. I'm just so sorry that it happened.
Yeah, and you know, you never really know until it does happen. Yeah, and I think, you know, because I was quite young when she did pass away, but it's, you know, I think mental health is like really important to talk about because I think no one really knows until it happens, and I just don't even know how to really explain it because it's hard to see something like that coming.
Oh yeah, and then there's always the follow-up where people are like, oh, we had like no idea, we never saw any signs, they always seem so happy and so forth, and then there's the stigma that kind of comes of it. People, there's a whole like, oh, you're going to hell, this was a sin. This is someone who was suffering and they were in pain, and it's the kind of pain that we can't fathom.
It's just you can't. It's weird. It's like it's weird to talk about, and it's hard to talk about because it, like, even when it does happen to like someone you know, like it still feels strange to talk about, and it like at times it doesn't even feel like it's your right to talk about because, you know, and like unfortunately it does happen a lot, and it's a silent killer.
So what led you to do the song for your friend?
I don't know. Weirdly enough, it was just like it's the first song I've ever written because I've never really thought of myself as writing music. Like when I was at school, like you did like little things with your friends or you'd come up with like little tunes. But, you know, there was this thing where it was like, okay, you have to write a song. So then we all had to go off because I went to a music school. We all had to go off and write a song. And then, I don't know, this just came out. And I don't know. I think, you know, a part of it is also like a grieving process. And I think a lot of the ways that I write my music, it's just managing experiences in my life, like dealing with them. I don't know, because it's like in the moment you can't really, like, you feel like you have to be there for your family and for everybody else. But then when you get a chance to write, it really is your process of dealing with all of your emotions.
In writing this song, did you find that you were able to kind of express some things that you were having a hard time voicing before?
Yeah, definitely. Because when I wrote the song, it was about a year after it actually happened. And actually when it did happen, I was in the middle of a play. So I just had to, like, from the minute I found out, I just had to walk in and get up on stage. So, it was like a very delayed grieving process, but it kind of, and you know, it kind of still is a grieving process because that person's gone, like they're not coming back.
You know, it's like I said, that person's gone, and especially if there's someone who was really close to you, you have the constant reminder of whether it be like photos of the two of you together or just like memories of things you did. Or I remember the time we were here together, we were laughing, having such a good time. And you'll never have that again. That experience will never be repeated. It's just a memory, and that's the case of anyone who loses someone. Tell me about the story of the song. Like,
well, it is really about that, you know, that moment, like that where you should have responded to a text, or, you know, if I could do it over, then you'd hope you'd do something differently to prevent it.
Do you find that music is kind of like a therapy for you when it comes to just talking about different things? Do you find that it's useful to kind of express things, whether it be a loss or maybe just kind of what you're going through in general?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. I definitely know for a fact, like, there's things that I've gone through and things that have happened, and like, or friends that have hurt you from years ago, and you're like, and it just kind of all comes up in your music because it's very difficult to express it. Or I think today, like, and this is a big problem as well in terms of mental health, that it's very difficult for people to express themselves and talk about their emotions. And I think, I'm very lucky in the sense that I get to just put it into music and write songs about it.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely a therapy for me.
Excellent. Yeah. Now, during this time when of course you can't go out and play shows, you can't go out and do the things you normally do, is it easy though to kind of sit down and say, I'm going to work on a song today and just do it?
Yeah, it's really nice, even if it's not just writing songs, or even if it's like writing poetry or just short little stories. Yeah, I feel very lucky in the sense that I get to sit at home and spend some time writing and being creative, because a lot of the time there's a lot of other things to be done and you've got to go off and do errands, and now it's just everything's really stopped, so you do have a chance to kind of kick back and just be a little bit extra creative than you usually are. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. One thing that I expect that we're going to see when this all like peters out is a whole lot of like new albums come out, because people like yourselves, you have nothing else to do but just like work on like new music. So there's that time to just spend like, okay, what are you working on right now?
I'm currently working on a single with my producer. And we were lucky to actually be able to record some of it before everything, like all the lockdowns and everything went into place. And so that's kind of been in the mix at the moment. So we've kind of been throwing ideas back and forth. But yeah, no, I'm excited about this one. I think it will be fun. Yeah.
Okay. Can you give us like a little hint as to what it's going to be about?
It is about, again, another relationship, but it doesn't really work out because this person isn't the person that you're meant to be with.
I was actually wondering.
There we go.
I was actually wondering internally, okay, when are we going to see the breakup song? Because you kind of talk about how this works with like dealing with the complex emotions, and for musicians, there's always the breakup song. There's always the breakup song or like the I was dumped song. Everyone's got that one. Yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of breakup songs that I've just written, and then sometimes they come from like nowhere, and I'm like, oh, okay, like all these things that have happened to me, like again, like therapy, like throughout my life, like things that have happened, I'm like, oh, this is coming up, and then I just write it down, and I'm like, great. But yeah.
I've always said never break a musician's heart because they will definitely put you in a song and it will not be flattering.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah, it's true. It is true.
In addition to the new single, I also checked out the music video, and to the folks listening now, check out that music video. It's so cool. This is definitely a high production value thing. This one, the theme of the music video is the making of a movie, and you also have some background in acting as well.
Yes.
What went into putting this whole thing together? Because you have a lot of people involved with this.
Well, that's really my amazing team, and like I call her my creative mother, which is Amy Benjamin. She's the director of the video. She's the creator of the concept for the video. She's just amazing. Like, I sit back sometimes and she's also done my album art as well, and she does a lot of my photos, and she's just incredibly creative, and I just don't even know where it comes from, but I'm so lucky that she's doing all of my videos and my photos, and it's just such a privilege to work with her, because when you're working with such creative people, you just sit back and you're like, this is amazing. Like, it's incredible. It's incredible to watch someone so creative work.
How did the two of you meet?
I met her when I was 16. I met her when I was 16, and I met her because she did headshots, and she still does headshots, and I got them done for my acting portfolio. And then I had headshots with her again, and then I don't know, like when we met, we all just clicked, And funnily enough, she actually went to the school that I went to, which was Australian Institute of Music. So we were bound to meet eventually.
Definitely,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Did she do your last video for Coke and Mentos?
Yeah. She's done both my videos.
It's such different concepts too, where like the first one is kind of like a high school setting, almost like a high school musical sort of thing.
Yeah.
So she devises like all like the themes and like the concepts for what the music video is going to be about.
Yeah, she does, and it's amazing. Like I just like you had the first video, and I was like, this is just so cool. Like this is just so like I love the whole high school vibe to it, and then do it over, which is just. I just love that idea as well, and that to bring in that movie making aspect of it, I really loved because I am an actress, so it was really, really nice.
Would you say that acting and music are kind of like parallels in your life, or has one sort of taken up more of your time?
It's kind of it kind of comes in different waves. So sometimes like music can take up a little bit more time, and then other times it can be acting that takes up more of my time. But yeah, no, they're definitely like my two greatest loves. That's what I always say. But yeah, it just comes in waves, and it's usually like very natural. It's not like one is fighting the other.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's usually like it just works out really well. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm very lucky.
Does having experience with the two mediums kind of like help you out with the other, like in terms of like acting? Does that kind of help you out with music?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it definitely. I think with the acting background, it really helps me connect and emote, like when I sing.
What kinds of projects have you been part of, like acting wise?
There should be a feature film coming out at the end of this year, and I'm just a brief little moment where I'm in there. Yeah, and then it's just been some short films, and then another small part in the feature film. But yeah, it should all be coming out hopefully at the end of this year, but who knows with everything that's going on right now.
Yeah. When this all happened, were you in the middle of like doing shows? Did you have to put like a hard stop to like what you had going on?
I did have a launch party coming up.
And oh no!
That was the like
no.
That was finally like getting everybody there, celebrating the EP and having the videos up and running, and yeah, so it just it's been delayed. It's not cancelled. It's been delayed. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, how many songs we're going to have by that point. We might have a few more to have at the launch, but I really do believe that things happen the way that they're meant to. Yeah, so we kind of just like called it pretty early. We were like, okay, I think we're going to have to cancel because you kind of saw what was going on in the news, but yeah, no, it's still going ahead, but we're still positive about it. But
well, maybe by the time you have it, you can do like your dual EP launch or your triple EP launch or whatever else you have ready to go by then.
Everything. I'm gonna throw it all into the one big party, and I don't know when it will happen now. I have honestly no idea. But if it's at November, then it will be like a birthday, and then it will be a launch party.
You
go. And yeah. So kill two birds with one stone.
Exactly. The shows, must go on, and I definitely talked to a lot of artists who have had, shows canceled. Like, actually, I talked to an author last week. He had his first book out. He had a huge party set up for it. Tons of people were going to be there. Gone. Had to put the whole thing off. People are adapting. You're seeing like a lot of like online performances, online kind of like release parties, but it ain't the same. It ain't the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have you had the chance to actually check out doing like online shows?
Yeah, I've seen a few of them pop up, and like it's really cool to see how you've got, because I don't know if it's like the Zoom or how they do it, but like you've got the artist and then you've got like the instruments and then backing vocalists and dancers, and you're like, it's quite interesting to see how we have adapted so quickly, and it's kind of become this like new medium of performing. But yeah, it's really cool to kind of see how artists have adapted and really like kind of gone with it. And even though we can't all go out and have a party and listen to some music with some friends, it's nice to be able to kind of watch all these live performances from home. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, my Instagram feed these days is mostly so and so is going live, so and so is going live, this person's going live.
Yeah, yeah, you get all those like things popping up, and you're like, oh my god, like,
I know.
and you see like going, but yeah, no, there's a lot of live videos at the moment.
It
Yeah,
definitely is. Now, I'm really curious as to the music scene in Sydney. What are some of the venues that you like to go to, either to perform at or to just go to shows?
I'd say okay. So there's like this one for me personally, like there's this one bar kind of venue that I love, which is called Frankie's Pizza by the Slice. And it's not like it's a rock bar, and I really do love rock music. So that's kind of like my favorite thing to just kind of like go and relax and just like really kind of dork out to all the music that I love. But yeah, I'd say that's probably like my favorite place in Sydney.
Now, are you just are you kind of just at like the beginning of your music career?
Yeah, the very, very beginning. This is the first piece of music that I've ever released. So
Wow.
yeah, this is the very, very earliest stages. Yeah.
What have been some of the lessons kind of learned like along the way, either in terms of writing or just recording?
I've really learned most things from my producer. He's also like my mentor as well in all things music. And like if I didn't like meet him, because I've known him for quite a while, but when a friend of mine, she was going to do one of his courses, then I was like, okay, I'll come along, because after I finished school, I had every intention of just like dropping music and just going on the acting path.
Wow.
I was just going to leave it behind. But then I did this course with him, and I was just hearing about his life and his experiences, sorry. And I was like, I could do this if I, if I worked hard and went after it, like I could do this. And then, yeah, really everything I've kind of learned is from him. But it's really interesting, like what you learn along the way, because it's like, when you start writing and you're like coming up with this cool stuff, you're like, oh, I really, really like this. And then it kind of like changes a little bit along the way. And then you're like, oh, what about that? And then he's like, you've got to think about like big picture stuff. And, you'll listen back to it one day, and when you hear the song progress and like it kind of grows, when you hear it, you're like, oh, no, like I like the old thing. And then they're like, and he's like, no, just like, trust me, it will change. It's meant to change. And then you listen back to the old stuff and you're like, okay, yep, he was absolutely right. Yeah.
I think we all need something like that in our lives, especially when we're kind of starting out, because we don't know what we don't know.
Sorry. Yeah. He's really helped me so much. Like he's just been such a mentor and like a guide, because a lot of this is him. Like he's really just helped me. He's really put me on my path, as you would say, like literally put me on my path, because I had no intention of sticking with music, and here I am. So yeah, Steve Clisby, coolest dude ever. He's performed with so many great people who I absolutely love, and I'm super jealous, but like he's really taught me so much. He's incredible.
Was it hard to put this thing to bed and be done with it, given that it was your first EP?
Yeah. It was like, it took, like when you started making it, when like we first started making it, it took a while to kind of like get it out there, because it was like the first one. So like everything was new. Yeah. Now that it's kind of like out there, I kind of just try not to think about it too much, because I'm like, I don't want to know what people are saying. So yeah, I just like kind of hide. I'm like, okay, on to the next thing. We're gonna do the next thing now.
You put it out there quietly, and they're like, okay, it's there. We're not gonna talk about it. We're not gonna, say anything about it.
Yeah, I'm just gonna just hide. Yeah.
Given that though, how are you at taking feedback about this? Like, are you kind of like looking forward to or dreading reviews?
So far, like most things have been good. There's been like a few things that people are like, oh, I don't like it, but it's it's new, but it's nice to kind of like start getting the hang of how everything goes. But I kind of just like put it a few blocks away from me, if that makes sense. Like it's kind of just like that outer professional world where I'm like, okay, that's just like what I do. That's just my job, and that's not going to try and take it to heart too much. So yeah.
it doesn't define who you are. It's just one part of like your entire career.
Yeah.
Style-wise, I definitely got a lot of different vibes from the album. In particular, Coca Mentos, Do It Over, very, very different styles of songs. Do you feel like you're still trying to find your vibe as an artist?
I don't know. It's kind of weird because it's like I write songs that are very, like, I'm still writing songs now that are very different to each other, which I kind of like. It's, you know, it's kind of like putting on a different outfit or a different character, or, you know what I mean? It's just kind of like a bit of a change, but it's really nice to kind of be able to go between the two. You know, like even with the next EP, I'm sure it will, or album or single, I'm sure it will sound different from the first one, because it's kind of, you know, every single year, every day, I guess, you're kind of like growing and changing and you're having new experiences, and it kind of all feeds back into your music.
Let's talk about down the road, of course. Going under the assumption that things will be back open again, we can start doing like shows and whatnot. Are you the type of person to set yourself with some goals, or do you sort of take it as it comes along?
I'm very ambitious. I'm a very ambitious
That's
person.
Good. That's really good.
At the moment it's kind of been like a little bit of like I don't really know what's next, because, you know, it really was that launch party, and then, you know, that I think that when everything opens back up again, it will be the launch party. That's the goal, to kind of like kick that off, and and then it will just be making more music, and then going for a single, and then hopefully an album, and so there's like a few things where, you know, I'm finally getting the chance now to kind of think about it, because, you know, obviously the launch was delayed, and hopefully some shows from that if people enjoy it. Yeah. Places
that you absolutely want to play at.
Oh, there's a lot. I think, really, you know, down the road, big picture, I think Madison Square Garden would be, that would be a big one. And then in Sydney, well, I don't know if it's the ANZ Stadium anymore. It might be a different stadium. But, to play it, you know, have big shows put on. I love that. I love all that stuff where there's, like, you know, like confetti cannons and all sorts of, I love that. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, exactly. Now, has Steve been giving you any good advice for like performing live? What that's going to be like?
Yeah, well, I had a lot of practice when I was at school, because every single week you would have your concert practice, so you would have to get up on stage. Yeah, so that was kind of, you know, when you're doing it at school and you've got your peers where they have to give feedback of, you know, that's probably the hardest performances I'm ever going to have, because, you know, at the end of it, you're going to get, you know, you're going to be critiqued. But he's definitely taught me a lot as well, because he does quite a bit of, like, he does a lot of performing, and he's just so relaxed and just so, it's great. He's such a great performer. So I think that's definitely, I'm trying to take that on. I'm like, Dad, relax, chill out, we're fine. Yeah.
I'm curious as to the kind of feedback your classmates gave you.
I think I've like put it in the back of my mind now. Like I try and like forget it, but there's a lot of, like, I think that was really great going to a music school, because there's a lot of things that you don't really realize, like communicating with your band, how you present yourself, how you look at the audience, how you know, you'd get different critiques from different people, because you'd have people who are drummers, people who are singers, people who, you know, play all sorts of different instruments. So there's different things that they can give you feedback on, whether it's just, you know, vocals, mostly from the people who majored in their vocals. And you'd kind of get all sorts of different things. And because you would do it so often, then you'd be like, oh, okay. Like you wouldn't even think about something. And then you're like, oh yeah, right, cool. Yeah.
And there's so many like little things to keep in mind too, because everything from the, like, how you stand, how you move around during the music, your between song banter. There's so many like small things to kind of learn as you kind of go along. Definitely.
So I'm sure there'll be more things popping up that I have to quickly take on board. But I'm excited to start performing live again, because I think that would be like my favorite part of it all.
I want to go back a bit to the acting. As you mentioned, you've been in feature films, some short films. Do you think you have a preferred genre right now?
I wouldn't say I would have a preferred genre. Yeah, no, it's kind of just like really whatever you can get as an actor. Like, you're really happy to be doing anything and happy to be working. But yeah. It's nice to play different characters, whether they be dramatic or comedic. It's fun. It's really fun to do different things. Like with the music, I guess, doing different sounds and yeah.
How about for watching movies? Do you have like a certain kind that you're more of a fan of?
I don't know. It's hard because I've just recently been watching the like award-winning films from last year. And they've mostly been dramas, but they're just so good. So I'm now, like, right now I'm in like a watching drama. Although I did watch Jojo Rabbit as well recently, which was really, really funny.
Such a good movie.
And that was great.
Such a good movie. I loved that movie. I wasn't sure like what to expect from the trailers. I was like, okay, this looks like it's a comedy or something like that. It's a satire.
Yeah.
But it's more than that. And I won't spoil it in case people haven't seen it. Go see it. Yeah. Rent it, whatever you gotta do.
Go and see it. I love Taika Waititi as well. So I thought it was amazing. And like I remember a friend told me about one of his films called What We Do in the Shadows. And this is a while ago now, but I saw that and I was like, this is amazing. So if you haven't seen What We Do in the Shadows, you have to go and watch it. It is so funny. It's just the best film. You'll love it. And then you'll just be a big fan of his forever. So, yeah.
That and 1917. I saw that as well.
Yes. That's what I saw yesterday. And I was like, this is amazing. I was like, wow. I'm honestly, I'm going to go back and watch it again because it was incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible.
I mean, it's a war movie, but it's not a war movie because like most war movies have this, grand scale that you're kind of seeing through. This is just focused on these like two people.
It's amazing. Like, I was watching it and I was like, because I watched it with my mom and we were just sitting there and I was like, we were like sitting out of our chairs, like really like, and then I was like, I think I'm going to be sitting like this the whole movie because like it's not like, and I was right. I was sitting there the entire time on the edge of my seat, like, oh my God. But it was incredible. It was incredible. Like, I'm still like, it's because I'm so recent from watching it that I'm like really hyped up, but it was just amazing. And they were incredible actors, incredible. It was just incredible. It was amazing. Amazing.
Have you seen Joker?
I watched that yesterday as well. So I know I'm going through all of them right now. I did watch Joker yesterday and I was like, this is crazy amazing. This is just so good. And you can just see how he got that Oscar because that was...
Oh, yeah.
That was... I don't even know who that was. Do you know what I mean? Like, it wasn't even like him. Like, it was just... Oh, I don't even know. But it was really, a great film to watch as well because you kind of, if you watch the DC and that universe, it was kind of interesting to see where he came from. And you're like, people were so horrible to him.
I know.
It was sad, but yeah, it just went to a very dark place.
One of the things that really surprised me, people's reactions saying how, it was so incredibly violent. Number one, it really wasn't. It wasn't that violent.
Yeah.
It had spots of it, and they were intense. Yeah. But it wasn't that bad. It wasn't like, there's like 2.5 hour blood fest. Number two, it's a movie about the Joker. How can you not expect violence?
Yeah. And I thought it was really interesting to watch where he came from, like the life that he had before that. And it really, because I know that was a standalone film.
Yeah.
And I know he's not coming back, but it was like, it works as a standalone film because it really just does give you an insight into the character itself, which is something like you haven't really seen before, which was great. And it was just wonderful to watch his performance. I've just been watching so many great films lately, so I'm really like in a movie phase right now. And like I was holding off on it for a while because I had like a little bit of work to do, and then now I'm just in like a massive movie phase and I just can't stop watching movies. I'm just like I don't know how many movies I'm watching in a day, but it's a fair amount in the past 2 days that I've watched. But they're just incredible. Like, you just keep going from one to the next, and like the entire time you're not like, oh, well, there's not a moment where you're like, oh, this is boring. The entire time you're like, this is so amazing.
Yeah.
I'm really getting really hooked. I'm sorry, I'm going down like a path where I'm just gonna like keep talking about movies.
Oh, I can do this all day. I can do this all day.
So yeah, no, I'll probably, after this interview, I'll probably go sit with my mum and I'll be like, oh, that movie.
Yeah.
And that movie, that's amazing. Like, yeah, that's probably.
Who would you like to work with in film? Anyone, who would be your like go-to person?
There's so many that it would feel wrong to mention one, because there's just like so many others where it's like there's just so many. Are you talking like director-wise or like
actor-wise? You know,
there's still a lot. There's still so many. I would have to say Meryl, obviously, because I think it would just be. I think I'd just sit in awe mostly and just wow. But yeah, that would be incredible. It would be incredible to watch her work. To sit near. I'd like hold a door for her and just like open the door, be like, there you go, and I'd be like, yes, okay, I'm really thrilled. Like, that was amazing. But yeah, oh God, that would be amazing.
Two people that I could think of off the top of my head would be Morgan Freeman, just because he's awesome in everything. I've never seen a movie of his and like, wow, that was shit. And Vin Diesel, because he's been in some of my favorite movies. The Last Witch Hunter. He's such a great action movie person. He's like the action movie person.
Yeah. It's amazing how like actors have kind of all got their niche.
Exactly.
You know, it's kind of like their own genre of music. If you get what I mean, like, you know, pop or alternative. It's kind of like their own little genre that they've got. But yeah, I think it'd just be incredible to work with lots of different actors.
Dwayne Johnson, come on, you can't beat that.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to. Apparently, he's just the loveliest guy.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'd love to work with Dwayne. I'd love to work with all of them. Yeah, I really would.
Well, Tia, this has been a lot of fun. I've loved talking to you. Definitely look forward.
Talking to you too.
You're very welcome. Definitely looking forward to the next project. And for the folks at home, you can go to Tia Beale, BEALE.com. You'll find links to all her social media accounts. Follow her on all the different things. Check her on Spotify, Instagram, Facebook, the whole 9 yards. Until next time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's been great talking to you and talking about movies. It's basically just been fun for me to talk about all the things that I love. So, yeah, thank you so much for having me.
Hi, this is singer Kate Eppers, and you're listening to Citywide Blackout.
All right, folks, that brings this episode to a close. Be sure to follow the show on Facebook under Citywide Blackout, Twitter and Instagram under Citywide Max, and citywidblackout.blogspot.com. You can catch the show on Podbean, Spotify, TuneIn, Apple Podcasts, and every Saturday at 10 p.m. on Boston Free Radio. And now I've got Tia's brand new single, Do It Over. As always, keep those ears open.
this world